An equation is a statement that two expressions are equal. The solution to an equation is the value or values for the variable that make the equation a true statement. So if we look at our first equation, 3x minus 4 equals a negative 6. To solve this, the first thing I need to do is to get the x term by itself. So I need to get rid of this 4. Well, 4 is subtracted, so to get rid of it, I'll do the opposite. I'll add 4. Now, whatever I do to the left side of the equation, I need to do to the right side. So I have 3x equals negative 2. Now I want to get the x by itself. Since it's multiplied by 3 to get rid of that 3, I'll do the opposite. I'll divide by 3. Both sides of the equation. So if x equal, now if either the numerator or the denominator of a fraction is negative, it makes the whole fraction negative. The answer is a negative 2/3. This next equation has parentheses in it. I need to get rid of these parentheses. So I have 13 minus, in parentheses, 2x plus 2 equals 2x plus 2 plus 3x. I'm going to distribute for the first set of parentheses the negative to each term inside the parentheses. The effect that will have is to change the sign of each term. So I get a negative 2x minus 2. Now on the right side, I'm going to distribute the 2 to each term inside the parentheses. So I have 2x plus 4 plus 3x. Now I need to collect like terms. So 13 minus 2, that's 11, minus 2x equals 2x and 3x, it's 5x plus 4. So I have x's on two sides of the equation. I need to get rid of the x's on one side. So what I'll do is I'll move the smaller one. This 2x is subtracted from 11. To get rid of it, I'll do the opposite. I'll add it. So I have 11 equals 7x plus 4. Now we want to get the x term by itself. Since the 4 is added, to get rid of it, I'll do the opposite. I'll subtract 4 from both sides. So I have 7x equals 7. Once I get the x term by itself, now I want to get the x by itself. Since it's multiplied by 7, to get rid of that 7, I'll do the opposite. I'll divide by 7. So I have x equals 1. Now this third equation, 1/2 x plus 1/3 equals 1/4, has fractions in it. One method for solving an equation with fractions is to actually get rid of the fractions. We need to look at all the denominators and find the smallest number that all three of the denominators go into evenly. That's our least common multiple. In this case, it's 12. 2, 3, and 4 all go into 12, or equivalently 12 over 1. So I'm going to multiply each term on all sides of the equation by that 12 or 12 over 1. And simplify. 2 goes into 2 once, into 12 6 times. So 6 times 1, that's 6. I'll bring down the x. Plus 3 goes into 3 once, into 12 4 times. 4 times 1 is 4, equals 4 goes into 4 once, into 12 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. Now it looks like the first one. I need to get the x term by itself. So since 4 is added, to get rid of that 4, I'll do the opposite. I'll subtract. Remember, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side. So I have 6x equal to 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Now I can go for the x term, for the x. Since it's multiplied by 6, to get rid of that 6, I'll divide by it. So x equals, now, if either the numerator or the denominator of a fraction is negative, it makes the whole fraction negative, so I'll put that negative out front. My answer is negative 1/6. Now, if I have a fraction equal to a fraction, we can call that a proportion. Well, there's a shortcut we can take. Rather than finding the least common multiple and multiplying each side by that least common multiple, I can just cross multiply. So what I'll get is 4 times the quantity x minus 9 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 5. So I'll use the distributive property to get rid of those parentheses. So I have 4x minus 36 equals 3x minus 15. Okay, again, I have x's on two sides of the equation. So I've got to get rid of the x's on one of the sides. So let's get rid of the smaller one. Let's subtract 3x from both sides. So I have x minus 36 equals negative 15. Now to get that x by itself, I've got to get rid of that 36. Since it's subtracted, to get rid of it, I'll do the opposite. I'll add. So I get x equals 21. Another equation with fractions. As I said, it's easiest often to get rid of the fractions. So I'll look at the denominators. I have 2/3 x minus 4 equals 1/4 x plus 1. If I look at the denominators, I have a 3 and a 4. They both go evenly into 12. That's the smallest number that they'll both go into. So that's our least common multiple. 12, or equivalently, 12 over 1. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by that 12 over 1. 3 goes into 3 once, into 12 4 times. So 4 times the 2 that's there, I have 8 times the quantity x minus 4 equal 4 goes into 4 once, into 12 3 times. So 3 times 1 is 3 times the x plus 1. Now I use the distributive property to get rid of the parentheses. So 8 times x is 8x minus 8 times 4 is 32. 3 times x is 3x plus 3 times 1 is 3. X is on two sides of the equation, so I'm going to eliminate one of the x's. I'm going to eliminate the smaller one. I'm going to get rid of that 3x. If I subtract it from one side, I have to do the same to the other side. So I have 5x minus 32 equals 3. Now it looks like the first equation again. I need to get the x term by itself. So add 32 to both sides. I have 5x equals 35. To get the x by itself, since it's multiplied by 5, to get rid of the 5, I'll do the opposite. I'll divide by 5. I have x equal 7. Number 6, to solve this, I have to get rid of the parentheses first. So I'll distribute the 6 to each term inside of the parentheses. I have 6t plus 12 minus 14 equals 6t minus 2. When I got rid of the parentheses, I see I got some like terms. Let's collect those. So I have 6t, 12 minus 14. It's going to be a negative 2. Now I have exactly the same thing on both sides of the equal sign. We call this an identity. So no matter what value for t we use, I'm going to always get the same answer on one side of the equal sign as I get on the other side. So the solution is all real numbers. The last one. Okay, so let's get rid of the parentheses by using the distributive property. So 6 times t is 6. 6 times 1. 6 times t is 6t. 6 times 1 is 6 equal. 6 times t is 6t plus 6 times 8 is 48. All right, so there's x's on both sides of the equal sign. I'm going to get rid of one of the x's. Let's get rid of this one. So if I subtract 6t from here, I have to also do it to the other side. I get rid of all the x's. So what I'm left with is a statement that 6 equals 48. That can't be. 6 can't equal to 48. We call this a contradiction. And we say that there's no solution.